Alright guys, welcome to the garden live. It is it's rainy today and it's gonna sprinkle on and off probably while I'm on live here. Um so uh might have to shut off, might not, depends on how wet my phone is going to get. We are in the garden. If the connection gets bad, please let me know. If it gets spotty in and out, please let me know. We should be able to reach the Wi-Fi from here, but we'll just have to see. I got my little basket and I have started editing the video. I don't know if y'all can see it or not. I have started editing the video. There we go. Of me cleaning out this area. We're hopefully going to till this up and add some greens here, some more greens. I have put out my fall garden planting, and we did some lettuces and different things like that, but we want to do some collard greens and some different greens like that in this, possibly. This is where our tomatoes used to be, and so if you're new here, this is where our tomatoes used to be. I ripped them up. I do still have a few tomatoes through here that that are still planted, but they're on their way out as well. So we just hung on to them a little bit longer, and ripped out the bulk of what of the tomatoes we have. What we're still getting out of the garden is peppers. What is it? Sunkiss, the little cherry tomatoes, peppers, okra, and our butternut squash is still producing. And besides that, that's pretty much it. We have our seasonings like dill and basil or our bolting. And so we're moving right into the fall garden. We still have our corn up, but I will be cutting that down soon and making some fodder shocks out of it for fall decorations. So we are at the end of August, of course, and heading into, well, tomorrow I think is September 1st or the day after, one of those days. And so today I'm going to go through the peppers here. I know some of the peppers have got bad spots on them. I was thinking my mother-in-law was going to come out here and pick them, and she never did. And so we're just going to go ahead and pick them and harvest them, and process them at the house. If you haven't watched our videos on how we process peppers and how I store peppers, I recommend you checking out our canning and preserving playlist. I also did a live the other day where I was cutting, coring our peppers. But the main thing we do is freeze them. Something that I'm going to do this year that I haven't tried before, though, is dehydrating the peppers. I'm going to cut them in large chunks and dehydrate them, and use them in future recipes if it works out. I also plan to dehydrate some of our jalapenos. But the rule is, I've been told by multiple people not to dehydrate them inside the house. So I'll have to dehydrate them outside. They say it's about like pepper spray in your eyes when you're doing it. So today, like I said, if you're just popping on, we're going to gather up our bell peppers and our peppers that are left on the vines here. They're pretty much done. Hello. They're pretty much done. So anywho, let's get to picking. You all let me know if the connection gets bad. Tell me in the comments if the connection gets bad. I'm hoping that we have got enough Wi-Fi here to keep everything going. Let me move y'all a little bit closer. I don't want to get too far out of our Wi-Fi range, though. Let me see. Are we still connected good? Yeah, that ain't bad. Let me move right here. See if we're still good. Oh, yeah, we're doing good. Yeah, buddy. Okay. So while I'm picking this peppers, is anybody else finishing up with their summer garden, or is their summer garden still producing? Ours is pretty much done, like I said. The peppers have still got a few blooms on them, but that's about it. I don't know. Am I blurred? Let me know if it gets any better. See, See, this is what I'm talking about. I know I'm going to find a lot of peppers like this. I could save these, but I'm not going to. I will probably just take all of the ones that look like this, put them in a pile, and we'll feed them to the chickens. They'll like it. I want to show you all something. So down through the years, you pick up on different things, and where I've been gardening for a decade, I've picked up on a few different things. Let me grab a pepper real quick. Okay, I want to show you all something. So it's got a spider web on it. Let me see if I can get that off. You can tell we don't use no pesticides in our garden. So I want to show you all something, and I don't know if it's going to show up on camera very well. But down through the years, I've learned a few things, and I want to show you all something that I've learned. I've paid more attention to it over the last couple years, but as you can see, this is a good size pepper. I got a bug crawling on me. This is a good size pepper. It looks decent. Don't have any bad spots on them. This one don't have any bad spots on them. But I want to show you something. Hopefully it'll show up on camera. If you notice, let me see. I'm going to focus right here. If you notice, these peppers have like lines through them. Those are not ridges. They're just lines that are inside the pepper. And I'm going to turn it, but I don't know if it's going to show it. It's like that all the way around. So that's what the pepper looks like all the way around. Same one with this one. I'm not talking about the ridges. I'm talking about underneath. You can see like those kind of faint whitish lines or light green lines underneath. Now I want to show you something. I'm going to set this down for a second. Now this pepper is starting to turn. I wish I could have found a fully green one. But you know, if you see a red pepper, you know that the peppers are close to being harvested anyway. Sometimes I let them get fully red. A lot of times I notice, though, if you let them get fully ripe on the vine, you're going to have more bug damage if, like, you're us and you don't use any type of pesticide or anything like that. So this is, so that's a hint, hint, a ding, ding to let you know what they're doing in the grocery stores to allow the peppers to get fully ripe. Just so you know. So if you look at this pepper, I'm gonna go up close in the camera here. You're gonna notice that there's none of those white ridges that are like on this one. And the pepper is more shiny. So this is kind of, it's shiny, but this is kind of a duller green. This is kind of a brighter green. And the reason for that one is this one could have gone longer. This one could have become more ripe. It's a little bit immature. Now you can pick the pepper at this stage, but it's going to have probably a stronger taste, a better texture when it is fully ripe, like this one, and fully done, than it is this one. And you see me pick them off two different plants. This one is a smaller size than that one, but they're all the same breed of pepper, so it doesn't matter the breed. It just means that this is less mature. It's not fully ripened fruit, and this is more full ripened fruit. Let me see, I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna check my connection again because I've never done live out here this far from connection. So they both smell equally amazing. Does anybody else sniff their peppers? I do. Oh, they smell good. I'm a weirdo. But anyways, I wanted to show you all that this one, although is bigger, it is a less riper fruit than this one that is smaller, but doesn't have the ridges. It's more, it's a more ripened fruit. It's fully ripened. Wow. That one just fell off. So I'll bring that back. When your fruit starts, that one's so cute. It's like a little flower. Look at that. It's like a little flower. When your fruit starts looking fully ripe like this, when they're small, that happens a lot when you get down into your late summer garden. When the garden starts closing up, you're going to start noticing that the fruit gets a lot smaller when it's fully ripe. That just means that your plants have given all they've got. They put all their energy into creating the fruit. Oh, it's hot out here, guys. I'm sweating. They put all their energy in creating the fruit. My clothes are sticking to me, is why I said that. The humidity is like crazy. But they put all their energy in creating the fruit, and so now they're giving you smaller fruits. This is still edible, still usable, and we'll still preserve it and put it up. Hopefully I can pull you on over and I'll show you all kind of what I'm talking about here. The plants are heading out. So I'm going to show you the plants up front here. Let me see. This is so awkward doing on live. I'm used to doing videos. So let me see. I'm going to turn the camera down this way. And let's see if we can flip it. So if you know this plant here, it still has fruit on it. So we're still getting fruit. If you notice here, hopefully it's in the camera. Is it in the camera, guys? That there is blooms here. I don't know if you'll be able to see this far down, but there's a little white bloom there, if I can move it. And the fruit is still getting big, but there's fruit ready as well. Look at that. I hate it when the spiders do that. Ooh, it's alive. Can you see it moving in there? It's a spider in that. Can you see it? See the spider? Look at it moving. So, it needs to find another potato to move on because I'm kicking it out. Ooh, look at it crawling on me. Did you see it? Crawled out. Something that's, I'm going to flip the camera back around. Something that is very common in our area right now. We seen it last year. I think it was last year, the year before last, that my husband seen one, is black widow spiders. If you don't have them where you're at, they're extremely dangerous, and they, if you're bit by a black widow spider, they're poisonous or venomous. Do you call them poisonous or venomous? I'm not quite sure. But you get bit by one, it's going to eat your skin away. And so my husband seen one the other day when he was messing with one of our trailers, and they're very common at the end of in our area at the end of the summer, and so I have to be really careful. I wasn't being very careful right there, but I have to be really careful about the spiders. That way I'm not running into any poisonous ones. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate it. So let's see, we'll flip the phone back around instead of the camera. And you all let me know if the connection is still okay. Yeah, it looks like we're doing good. So I'm going to bring you all a little bit closer because I got to get down through the plants here. This is so awkward live. These are the things that we do. These are the things that, if you're wondering what a YouTuber does, this is what we do when you all are not watching. Constantly adjusting the camera. I've got a couple peppers. Hi, Frank. I'm glad you caught me live. I'm doing good. How are you? I've been trying to go live more often. I've been trying to go live more often. That way maybe it's a little bit easier for people to find my channel. I also think it's really fun to get to talk with you all. It's pretty neat to just go live and like have an actual conversation with the people that that follow us on our channel. It's really neat. I love making new friends, and if you all can't tell, if you haven't been able to tell by now, can pretty much talk to anybody. So I love getting on here and chit-chatting and talking with my YouTube friends. Somebody accidentally broke this off the other day, so this really pretty pepper got wasted. I don't know if you can tell it, it's wrinkly and soft, so I'm not gonna work on processing that. That's okay, it happens. It was probably my husband who was mowing in here. So he probably did it on accident. That's okay. Let me see if I can move you all a little bit closer to that end without losing connection. Let me see. I want to see how far I can push this. Are we good there? Yeah, we're good there. Let's see. I'm pushing my Wi-Fi to the limits. Still good there. Let's see if we can make it down this way. If we can go live in the garden, that's going to be pretty fun. If I can, that means that I can plant with you all live. That would be really neat to be able to have that conversation with you all. You all let me know if it's still connected good, if you can still see me. I'm thinking right there is probably the best place. Y'all let me know if the connection's still good. Awesome. Thank you. Now I gotta go get my basket. And listen, nothing is like a good garden pepper. Nothing smells like a good garden pepper. Peppers in the store don't smell like this. They don't look like this. We were talking about it the other day. Like, they don't smell like this. Also, I wanted to note, for those of you that don't raise a garden and stuff, when your peppers start turning red like this, when they get all the way red, this one's still got a little bit of green on it, it's done. It's not going to get any bigger than this. Even when they start turning red, see, this one is red, this side is green, they're not going to get any larger than this. So. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with that. Look at that. Look how perfect. It's so beautiful. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And then I got these two. Oh, and a little bug. Like I said earlier, you can definitely tell that we don't use any pesticides on this farm because there's literally bugs everywhere, all over the plants. All over the plants. Let me turn the camera where you all can like actually see the plants. There we go. Where are we at? Can you see? Okay, let's talk about jalapenos and habaneros. Since we're talking about when bell peppers are ready, if you look at these peppers, they're getting this purplish color on them. That is from the sun, and that means they're ready. Now, a lot of times you're not going to want to let them get this far. They're not very good after they get past this point. Once the peppers start turning really purple, it affects the texture of them, and they turn out not so good. So if you see any peppers that start get this purplish color, habaneros, jalapenos, stuff like that, go ahead and pull them because they're ready to go. They're past ready to go, but you can still eat them. You just don't want it to affect the texture as much. So down here, I have habanero, a bell, and a jalapeno. And I think it was 2 jalapenos or maybe 2 habaneros. But that middle plant down there, I don't know if y'all can even see it, the lighting. This one right here, let me show you. This one right here got eat by, daggone it, I can't think of the name of them. But the ones that, the bugs that come in and just flatten, they eat your plant right at the bottom of the stem. They'll just like demolish the plant and eat it right at the bottom of the stem. Cutworm. That's what they're called, a cutworm. And they're called cutworms because they cut your plant off right at the bottom. And so I had to replant that one because it was just an extra I had, so I just put it there. So here's another one for an example. I don't know if y'all can see it very well. Can you all see the colors of these? Hoping so. It looks really dark in my phone. So it's starting to turn at the top, but this is about what you're looking for. Really shiny, pretty colored green when you're picking habaneros or jalapenos. So these are my jalapenos here. And if you notice, let me see. This is my habaneros. Now these are small, and they're small because our peppers didn't do very good this year. Now I do have a habanero that's the same exact plant, same exact breed of plant as that one is that I picked these small ones off of. It's over there in the raised bed, and the peppers on there are like this long. They're doing a lot better, but they're in the raised beds. Here are jalapenos. They're a lot lighter. I'm not used to jalapenos being this light, but like I said, we've had a bad pepper year, a bad-ish pepper year. I feel like our crop didn't do as well as it did in years past, although I have preserved and put up maybe 4 or 5 gallon freezer bags of peppers. And like I said, I plan to process the peppers that I've got today and chop them up small and use them in the dehydrator, dehydrate them and use them for future recipes. But I was going to ask you, for those of you that cook with pepper, if you cook with a lot of pepper like we do, what is your favorite color pepper to cook with? Is it green? Is it red? Is it yellow? Our favorite is typically green because I don't usually let my peppers get to the red stage. As you've seen, I picked a few peppers today that got to the red stage. I haven't been in the garden specifically for peppers or picking peppers for, I don't know, it's been about a week. And like I said in the beginning, for those of you that are just popping on, I thought my mother-in-law was going to pick these. I thought she was going to do something with them, and so I left them, and she didn't, and so they're ready to be picked, and so I'm just picking them. The plants still have a few peppers on them. We're still getting blooms on the pepper plants, and so I'm just going to let them continue to produce, and we'll pick them until they don't produce anymore, or until the frost comes, and we'll have to pick them, or the frost will get them. I've got a couple tomato plants. Let me see if I can bring you all closer without, I'm gonna pick that one. Bring you all closer without losing connection. I'm just throwing these peppers around like they're not breakable or something. I don't know why, I just tossed it. Connection still, guys? No, it's not. Okay, let's see. Trying to move you all around. Lost connection. Trying to get back. Let me see. I'm losing connection. I'm trying to move around so I can get better connection. Y'all let me know when it's still good. I'm not gonna be able to make it to the tomatoes. I can see that. So we're gonna go up here on the pool deck where I know the connection's good. I did a live out here the other day. All right. How are we on connection? Is that better, guys? Okay, let's see. We're on the pool deck, so let me adjust my stand because I'm sitting down. There we go. Okay. Jeremy, do you have your own Embracing the Chaos? You made it. You made it to one of my lives. Awesome possum. Jeremy, do you raise a garden? I know you said that you like to cook with yellow pepper. Sorry, I've got a message. Do you raise a garden? If you raise a garden, what do you raise in your garden? Embracing the chaos. Embracing the chaos. How is your garden doing? I know that you wanted to get some planting done. I've been touching them jalapenos and I have the strongest urge to touch my eyeballs. And that will not be good. Give me just a second. I'm gonna rinse my hands off in the pool water. Don't tell nobody. That way I'm not touching my face. Okay. That way I don't get jalapeno in my eyeballs. I'm sweating and the sweat is running down my face. And so I just want to keep wiping it. Oh no. I hate that, Jeremiah. I thought it said Jeremy. It's Jeremiah. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I was saying your name wrong the whole time. Probably because I know a Jeremy Johnson. And so when I seen your name, that was the very first thing that popped up. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I'm saying your name wrong. It's nearly 11 p.m. here. The garden is looking pretty bare, but seedlings. Mississippi, Mississippi. I can't say, like, when people say Mississippi, I can't but like spell it. It's my childish nature, I guess. When is the best time in your area? I know you live in Portugal. So when's a good time? Like, do you have a better season to plant in? What season are you all in right now? Are you in summer? Or, because I know nothing about Portugal, are you all in summer? And if you are in summer, is that the better time to plant? Or are you all in a different season? When is the best time to plant in Portugal? In our area where we have all 4 seasons, we have summer, winter, or spring, winter, spring, summer, fall, if I can get it out right. We have all the seasons. I guess it didn't matter what order I put them in. And so summer is about our only time to plant. We have, well, we plant in late spring to have a summer garden, and then we plant in midsummer to end of summer to have a fall garden. So pretty much the thick of it has to be in summer. We have to do pretty much everything in summer. Of course, we start the seeds. If we're going to start seeds, we have to start seeds in the winter in order to have seed plants to put out in the spring. And so we spend majority of the winter planting our summer garden is what it boils down to. And if you don't think ahead and start planting your summer garden or your fall garden in the summer, you probably won't get your fall garden planted. And I'm so bad about thinking about my fall garden. It's always chaos when I do it. Yep, summer at the moment. I'm hoping autumn will be better. Summer is too hot, often around 110 with drying wind. This year has been, I thought last year was bad, and I know I've talked about the drought a bunch, and people were probably tired of me talking about the drought. I thought last year's drought was bad. This year's drought was completely miserable. It was so dry. It was so dry, but the air was so humid. It was like it was raining up in the sky, but nothing was coming down. The humidity was miserable. And then we were having, like 90, 98 to 100 degrees ish. It was usually between 80 to 98, and it felt like, 105. It was so hot, and it's hot right now. And when I say hot, I don't know, some of you might not be used to high humidity. It's 95 degrees right now. It's just rained. And the humidity today has been take your breath away. I'm wet right now. My shirt is soaked through. It's probably TMI. My shirt is soaked through. My skirt is soaked. My face was dripping. I put some of that pool water on it, and so it feels a little bit better, but I'm wet. My arms are sticking together, my legs are sticking together. The humidity is just so high, and that's how it's been all summer, except we haven't had any rain to back it up. It's been a horrible drought. Horrible drought. Which usually in my mind, I think if it's going to be a drought all summer, we're going to have such a wet fall and a wet winter. And so I am thinking we're going to have a wet fall and a wet winter. Spring was so wet. It rained. It rained so much that a lot of people had to plant their garden late. And then all of a sudden it was drought, and it was so dry after we had so much wet that it's been awful. The weather has just been I'm not a fan. In 5 years here, we had an excellent summer garden only once, mostly loose, everything in August. This year was worst of all. Disease. Chickens, yeah. You get high humidity as well. It's awful. I want to invest in, have you all seen those movable electric fences? You see them a lot of times, a lot of homesteaders using them to keep animals in. I want to keep my chickens out, but I haven't even checked on the price of them because I can almost imagine that I'm not going to be able to afford it. And so I haven't even checked it. Somebody commented and said, that's what you all need is a reasonable price, but somebody else's reasonable might not be reasonable to me. And so I would love to put an area around our garden. I love having free ranging chickens. I don't know if you all have ever noticed in my videos. If you're new here, you probably haven't, but our old goat pasture is fenced in, and the top of it has electric run on it, mostly to keep our livestock guardian dog in when he was little. Once he got into his teenager age, he thought that he needed to be outside of the fence. And so he got hit by the electric one time, and that was it. And so we don't even have the electric on it right now. But the chickens can get out if they want to get out. Mostly they choose to stay in. And at the beginning of the summer, I had a couple chickens that were getting out and were free ranging in my garden. And I went ahead and clipped their wings. If you don't know what clipping their wings is, it just means to chop their feathers on the bottom. I don't know what kind of feathers those are called, but you just clip those. That way they can't balance to fly out. It doesn't hurt them, it's not harmful to them, and they grow back. But clipped their wings to keep them out of the garden. But we also had some chicks at that time that were, you know, little chicks, and so they weren't venturing all the way up to the garden. It's about an acre from where we keep our animals at to where the garden is. The garden is on the very far side, well, where I'm at right here. Let me see. If you see that big tree right here, that is the end of our property. And you can see the garden there. It goes to the very end of our property. And then next to that is a field. And then way up there is some trailers. And that is our closest neighbors. No, we don't have wild hogs. Thank God we don't have wild hogs. But I talked about this on my last live. They are saying that they're moving up to our area from the south, from like Florida. Underneath us is Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. Are right next to us is Tennessee. West Virginia is on the other side, and then above us is up north. We're in Kentucky. And so, no, but they have been saying that they're making their way into Kentucky. I'm not looking forward to it at all, because I don't want them destroying our stuff. But we'll see. If we do get wild hogs, we'll definitely have to use that electric fence. But I'm gonna have to. Wild boar hunting is very popular down south from us, especially Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas. It's very popular. But we don't have them here, or we didn't have them here. We've been hearing rumors or tales that they're coming into Kentucky, though, so I'm not looking forward to that, honestly. Now, if they do come, I guess we'll have something new to hunt, but I would rather them stay out, to be honest with you. I've heard a lot of tall tales. Well, not tall tales. I've heard a lot of tales. I shouldn't say tall tales because that makes it sound like it's a lie. I've heard a lot of tales about wild boar, and I'm not really looking forward to them being in our area. You were talking about Mississippi, though. If you there's a channel my husband follows. What is it called? Spirit of the Outdoors. I believe he is in Mississippi, and he talks about having wild boars in his area. So you're talking about moving to Mississippi. That might have to be something that you get acquainted with. You said you were in Seattle, didn't you? Do they have, they probably don't have wild hogs, do they? Yeah. Yeah, they are, the people that introduced wild boars to the United States need hog-tied. That's what they need. I'm sure it was done hundreds of years ago, but you know, especially places like Florida and the Everglades and stuff. It seems like there's so many things that people introduce in the Everglades, and it's just destroying it. Like, it's just destroying. Florida. If Florida is going to be destroyed by the wild animals that live there, or by the wild people that let wild animals wander and live there. I know, like, when they have hurricanes and stuff, there's like snakes that get out and alligators that get out, and because like people keep them, like zoos and stuff like that keep them. There needs to be like better measures. Like, when there's a hurricane or a flood, these animals shouldn't be getting out, but they are, and because of that, they're destroying Florida. My father-in-law lives in Florida, and he said it's getting bad, and he's been seeing, like, and specifically in his area, like bobcats and stuff that are like massive. He said that the animals are getting huge down there, and I mean, I don't know. It's about dangerous to live in Florida. I'm thinking boar were here an original species way back before farming. That's possible. No, I have been trying to, Jeremiah, I've been trying to talk him into it for years, to have a channel. I wish he did. I wish I could talk him into it. Maybe you can talk him into it. If he does create a channel, then for sure I'll announce it. But no, I can't talk him into one. He's not very tech savvy, and so he just, I don't know. He stays so busy. Like, the reason why you all that watch my channel never see him on my channel is because he seen a couple of Bobcats in part of Ohio. Yeah. It's because he's always doing something, and he's always just like moving from one thing to another. He stays so busy. I try to video him when he's doing a project, and he moves through stuff so quickly that it's hard to video him. And I don't know if you all have watched the videos that I have him in, but like, I'll say, tell us what you're doing. Tell them what you're doing on the video, or explain what you're doing. And he's so basic when he's trying to explain it that he almost sounds sarcastic. I tell him all the time that people are going to think that you're mean to me. They're going to think that you're a mean person just by the way you act on videos, but he's so awkward. He's so awkward behind the camera, and he moves so quick, and he stays so busy but he needs a channel. He totally does. Taking out their predators is where, yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, there's a place. If you've ever done any, if you have ever done any research about Kentucky and our area specifically, just a few hours from us is a piece of, it's a government land, I think, or maybe it's like I think it's government land, but people just drop their horses off in this area. And so we have wild horses, but really they're just like feral horses that people drop off. A lot of them are Amish people, Amish individuals that don't want to, so they've got a horse that's old, or they just don't want to fool with anymore. A lot of them are working horses that they're dropping off, and they just take them up to this area in Kentucky, and they just drop these horses off. And you know, you're talking about them destroying land and stuff. Like, I love horses. We had horses, but horses can be very, 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 very destructive to land. They can be very destructive to land, and people just dropping animals off because they don't want them anymore is pretty ridiculous. And I think that that's kind of where, you know, like I was talking about in Florida and stuff, with like, you hear like the pythons and stuff, people dropping off pythons, and then they're completely destroying the ecosystem. That's kind of what it'll probably end up with the horses, that they've dropped these horses off in this, it's a mountain. I think it was an old coal mining, like a strip mine, where they've stripped the top of the mountain off. I could totally get into that as well. But I'm going to try to stay out of that subject. But they've dropped these horses off. And so if you ever want a free horse, you can come to Kentucky. I can't think of where that area is. You could probably Google it or look it up and just go up there and get you a horse. If you can catch it and load it in the trailer, then it's yours. And so there's a couple places that feed the horses. A while back ago, though, a couple years ago, a man got in trouble. It was maybe a couple men, or a man got in trouble. And he went up there and started just killing horses for fun. Like, he was like driving in his vehicle and just started shooting them and killing them. And it was awful. It was horrible, and he went to prison for that. He went up there and just started killing them. Yeah, we raised horses for a time. We raised gaited horses. Show horses is specifically what we raised. And we raised a a breed of horses that's on the endangered list. They're still on the endangered list. I believe they're called Rocky Mountain horses. They're specifically a Kentucky bred and raised horse. They're trying to expand the Rocky Mountain breed horse outside of the United States and outside of Kentucky, but the Rocky Mountain horses have just kind of been landlocked in pretty much the state of Kentucky. And so where they had been landlocked for such a period of time, once people started not using horses for travel and things like that and for farm work, they started, the numbers started decreasing significantly. And so for a time we raised Rocky Mountain horses. They're called Rocky Mountain, but they're not from the Rocky Mountain. They're Rocky Mountains. They're from the Appalachian Mountains. But they were a really beautiful breed, a really fun breed. And we enjoyed them. Very gentle. They're a short horse. They only, one of our mares that we had, her name was BB. She was my very first horse. She turned 23 this year and had a colt in the springtime, and she's part of some of the original bloodline of the Rocky Mountain horses. Somebody kept that bloodline for a really long time, but they are. But her name was BB, and she had a colt this year, and she's absolutely beautiful. They named the colt. Or I don't know why I'm calling it a colt, because it's a filly. I don't know why I called it a colt. But she had a filly this year, this spring, and they named her Jim. But she went to, I'm trying to think. I believe she went to Idaho. I believe that's where she lives now. I'm trying to remember. But she was only 14. She was only 14 too. So she was 14 hands. She was 14.2 hands. So she's a little thing. I loved getting on her though, because she was short. I'm not a short person per se, not at least for our area. I'm 5'6". But the taller horses we had a horse that was, I think he was, trying to think, I want to say 15 hands, but I might be wrong there. But he was so hard getting off of. Every time I get off of him, I feel like I was going to break my ankle. And so I liked riding that 14.2 horse. Do you have to pay for a service to get the horse waste removed? If I get a horse, I don't want to get stuck with a problem that I can't solve. No, we had a compost area that we would put the horses' manure in. We would just clean it out. We had stalls for the horses, but they primarily stayed out unless they were birthing, or it was bad weather. That was the only time we stalled our horses. Most of the time they stayed we had a lean-to that came off of our barn, and they would stay underneath that lean-to when the weather was, bad. Unless we were having really, really bad weather, we typically didn't stall the horses. We kept them out of the stalls, and we just split up our males from our females, is usually how that worked. We personally only have 3 acres, which is not a lot of land, but right behind us, this way, if you go directly behind us where you see these trees, is connected to another property of a neighbor of ours, and he's got about 20 acres back there, and we would run our horses with his cattle. And so that was super nice. We just maintained his fences and stuff for the price of him allowing us to graze his horses. We did have to buy hay. We had to feed hay all year long. But then of course we fed we fed grain as well. So if you're looking at the cost of like feeding hay and grain, you would have to look at the cost of hay and grain in your area. I will say that grain is getting very high, specifically in the United States is very high. We were paying about $3 a bale, a square bale, or $30 for a round bale in our area, which is or $25, excuse me, which is extremely cheap. We had got in connection with an old farmer that my husband had grew up around, and he would let us load the hay out of field. It was more expensive if we got it out of the barn, but we would allow. But we were allowed to get the hay out of the field for $3 typically, depending on where you live. I know down in Florida, a square bale runs about $25. So you would have to look at the cost of hay in your area, and rather you would have enough land to only feed hay in the winter, or have enough land, or not have enough land that you have to feed hay and or grain or sweet feed in the summer or winter months. Let me see. What are the vet bills like? I don't really know, because we never, there was only one specific time besides when we would have our girls palpated for foals. We live out in the boondocks here, so we have a good country vet. And palpating is where they check to see if the females are in foal, and it was $15 every time we went. You would get them checked after you bred them, and then you would get them checked again. It was about $300. Stud fee, if you were wanting a male off of the farm, could range anywhere from $500 and up to get your horses bred. That's if you don't have a stud on the farm. We didn't really have many vet bills though. We're pretty handy about being able to treat our own animals. It's very rare when we go to the vet, and if we do go to the vet, we have a country vet that will usually just, unless there's like something major, like majorly wrong, that we just don't have the equipment to deal with, or we're not able to get the medication on hand. Like if we can't go to a local feed store or farm store and buy the medicine, our country vet would, we would just pay for the medicine, and then we would give the medicine ourselves. So even like with our dogs and stuff, when we give them their shots, we give them the shots. If you've watched any of my videos about goats, we had boar goats, and we had a lot of problems with the goats. We treated them ourselves. So we would, we would trim their feet. That's another thing. If you're going to get horses, if you're going to have your horses shoed, if you're going to be riding them, you're probably going to want them shoed. That is going to depend, your farrier cost is going to depend on, your area. We had different farriers do our horses, and the prices varied between who it was, so I can't really even give you a good estimate on that. Probably anywhere between $80 to $100 or more, depending on where you live. She said we have to feed hay year round. It's a lot of money, around 7K euros a year. We've had no vet bills for years, but right now we have a lot for a horse who is not doing well. Oh, I'm sorry. I would recommend, if you plan, I don't know how you are with animals right now. You said that you were in the city, Jeremiah. I would recommend trying to learn as much as you can before you get animals on how to treat animals. There's specific medicines that you want to keep on hand at all times. And if you are wanting a medication, I would recommend finding a good country vet. The price difference between buying something in town, if we go to town and we go to a vet, like we had to get our puppy, well, she's not a puppy anymore, but we had to get our female livestock guardian dog her booster shots from her originals a couple months ago. It was $65 in town for the shot, and it was $15 at the country vet. So that's going to be your price range difference between, and depending where you live. Yeah, Tractor Supply would be a good place to get different things like that. There's specific medications, and I don't know how it is in Portugal, but here in the United States, they've passed laws here recently where you can't get antibiotics for your animals in stores. So I'm trying to think. Ivermectin is something you can't get in store anymore. Trying to think. Tylen 50 is something that you can't get in store anymore, I believe. And Tylen 50 and ivermectin are going to be two things that you use very frequently, especially ivermectin on the farm if you have animals. Now, we didn't have to give antibiotics to our horses very much, but our goats, every once in a while, they would have to have antibiotics. Wormers is something that you need to keep on hand as well. Your horse, at least our horses, needed wormed about once a year. Our goats probably needed wormed about 2 to 3 times a year. Chickens, we worm our chickens. A lot of people don't believe in worming chickens when you're going to process or eat them. If we're going to eat them, we're not going to give them wormer. If we're going to eat their eggs, though, we're going to worm them and then do a pull period. About, I think it's like 34 days or 35 days, you're going to refrain from eating their eggs. But we like to keep our animals good and healthy. Something that you don't really have to mess with much, though, and horses was something that really didn't need that much medical care, if I'm being honest with you. The expense when it comes to horses is any riding equipment if you're going to ride the horses, farrier expenses, and then of course feed. Feed is going to be your highest expense. It's best if you're going to have a horse to make sure that you have a lot of land. Horses and cows are something that just need a lot. And if you don't have a lot of land, you're going to be paying out in feed cost, hay cost, things like that. But it's worth it. She said, "Yep, we all do the regular stuff ourselves, give shots, workers, etc. The law has changed here too, causing us to need to rely more on vets." Yep. And the bigger prices, absolutely. We do the same with our smaller animals. I talked about having a country vet as well, and where we have a country vet, we can get those type of medications at a lower cost. But also, when we seen that they were going to be taking those medications off the shelf, we went ahead and bought them for ourselves. She said hers are barefoot, and they get their about 4 times a year. Ours were raised for show and stuff, so they had shoes if they were being ridden. If we weren't going to ride them, say we had a mare that was in foal or whatever, and we weren't going to ride her or didn't plan to ride her, or if we just planned to maybe like hop on her every once in a while, just so just in the field or just in the round pen or whatever, we wouldn't shoe her. But if we were going to like go out riding or riding them the blacktop or whatever, we would have them shoed. We got a stock of ivermectin and some other things in advance of the law change. Yeah, we did as well. One good thing about us doing that, though, we got the ivermectin and things, the antibiotics and stuff before the law was passed. But we also decreased our animals significantly. So we sold out of our horses this year. We sold out of our goats this year. And so that decreased our need for antibiotics and stuff. So like now we rarely use antibiotics. Our dog had got an infection a while back ago. I don't know if he got in a fight or protecting the animals or whatever it was, but he had a big infection on his neck here and along with his ear, and he got really sick with it, and it put him down. How many weeks do you think? About 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah.
He was sick for about a month. And so that was the last time I can remember using antibiotics. and that was a couple months ago. And before that, I can't remember the last time I used antibiotics. Back when we had goats, I felt like I was constantly doctoring them, felt like I was constantly trimming feet, felt like I was constantly doing something with the goats, felt like they were always sick. And so that's why I've got a video that says why you shouldn't buy boar goats. And so that's why I'll never buy boar goats, because I was constantly having to doctor them. Let me see. But that was, yeah, I've got the goats away and reduced horses. Yeah. Just can't keep up with the hay price. After 3 summers of drought, hay is 4 times the price it was, and hard feed. Yeah, hay is a very high expense, and depending on where you live, it can be really, really high. Like I had said earlier, my father-in-law lives in Florida, and they don't have any animals that they need to feed hay for, but he said it's about $25 a bale. Just a small, like a regular size square bale, not the large square bales, but the small square bales. And here it's $2 to $3 is what we could buy it for. And I've seen it up to $5, but nowhere near $25. $25 will buy you an entire 4x4 roll bale here. So that's a crazy price, and depending on where you live is going to be the price difference. About 45 minutes to an hour is probably the nearest big city or city close to us. It's not probably not a big city compared to a lot of places. But the hay cost, I guess, is between $5 and $8 there, where we live out in the boondocks, the boonies. Back here, the price is around $2 to $3. Do you need something, honey?
No.
Oh. $6 here for a square bale, $35 for a round bale. So you all are close to around our price. $25 to $30 for a round bale is typically what you're going to find here. That's for mixed grass. I'd say it's probably around $35 for alfalfa roll bale, 4x4 roll bale. Probably $6 for alfalfa, $6 to $8 for straight alfalfa, alfalfa hay outside of our area. Now you can get alfalfa hay square bale for around $5. Just pure alfalfa. It's usually about what it is. Well, guys, I've been on here for about an hour chit-chatting. I've left my peppers out there in the blistering humidity. It's not really sunny out, but it is humid. So I'm going to hop off here, guys, but I appreciate everybody that come to hang out. I appreciate y'all watching. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments after the video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't liked the video, I would appreciate it if you did. Like I said, if you're watching this after and you have any questions, please leave them down below, and I'll do my best to help you out. Guys, I am still working towards trying to get my my monetization hours. So if you would like to help me get paid, if you'd like to help me have a payday, I would appreciate you all watching some of my videos. And kind of helping me boost my hours. But guys, I thank you so much. About $50 for a round bale. Wow.
That's high.
So it's high in Portugal. Yeah, she's in Portugal. That's pretty high. $50. Wow. Well, guys, thank you all so much. We'll see you on the flip side. Bye.